Okay. So, Kate, take it over for right now.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you guys may be. I'm Kate Clayson. This is Mario Quendo, and this is our second episode of our family readiness. So tonight we decided we are going to go over how to find urgent care during the holidays, poison hotline. And as a former 911 dispatcher, I can definitely answer when it should be a 911 call and when it shouldn't. I know a lot of times during the holidays, things can get really, really crazy. Families in town, and there's a lot that's going on. One of the things that will tie up a 911 center is when we have some disasters happen, like maybe the power will go out on you. And unfortunately, during those times, I would get a lot of people that would call 911 and it would tie up the lines. And that's not necessarily an emergency at that point. So make sure that you have your utility bill phone numbers available and ready. Those are the numbers that you want to be calling instead of calling 911 because they're not going to be able to really guide you with that. So have those set aside as well. You can get those off of your utility bill. Usually they have their 800 numbers and call those direct because 911 is not going to be able to answer any faster than they are. They're going to be able to have the answers for you. When to call 911, obviously, when there is any type of human injury, when there is any type of domestic situation, assault situation, something that's going to be more criminal or a medical emergency. So those are the calls that you want to call 911 and try and get them out there and get help out there as soon as possible.
Yeah. The utility companies usually have magnets that you could just put on your refrigerator that have their number to call in the event of a power outage. We have one that's coming through in here tomorrow. We got the bomb cyclone coming through on the Pacific coast. And they're talking anywhere between 30 and 100 mile per hour winds. So it's a really big chance that tomorrow I'm not going to have power.
100-mile-an-hour winds?
Yes, anywhere between 30 and 100. Nothing like a range for you. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, we put the garbage cans in the shed.
Yeah. Definitely secure anything that's going to blow away with 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, there's still a couple of things that could blow away, but at least I don't want to be picking up garbage from my lawn. I have 5 acres here. I don't want to be traipsing over 5 acres picking up garbage.
Man, you just got that greenhouse too.
Yeah, I know. But it's actually sheltered between the house and a fence. So, and I have no trees that could fall on the house or the greenhouse.
Oh, that's good.
So we're good there. But we're coming up on a holiday. So this is live around Thanksgiving, and it's going to go up as a podcast like just before Christmas. Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's emergencies that you might have, and this is just people and animals. But let's talk about people first.
Yeah.
So you're sitting down to Thanksgiving dinner. So we'll do a scenario. You're sitting down to Thanksgiving dinner, and someone chokes on a bone, and we get the item up. Let's just say first scenario is we get the item up. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's now no longer an emergency. Okay. So where are you going to go? Are you going to go to urgent care? Do you know where the urgent care is? Do you know what the holiday hours are of the urgent care? All right. Because if not, your option is the emergency room. Do you know where your emergency room is? Here, where I live in Sequim, I'm not using my local emergency room. I will take my chances And if I can drive, I'm going to go over the Hood Canal Bridge, which is hoping will be up because it's a holiday, and go to the emergency room in Silverdale. Okay. But if that's not the case, and let's say now the person is choking and they don't get the object up, now that's a 911 call, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, 911 is built to help us. 911 is built for medical emergencies, police emergencies. It is built to be our response system because we understand that when an emergency happens, time's not on your side.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely call 911 for that. Now, sitting in the dark because the electricity goes out, that's not a 911 call.
Okay. Now, also, like tomorrow with these winds coming in, I have a propane tank outside. It's for my stove and my fireplace. If I have my carbon monoxide, it's also a gas detector. So, and I've already had that go off once when I first moved here. Okay. But actually, let's talk about that real quick. A carbon monoxide detector may not necessarily pick up propane.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But you need something installed. So there's like building codes here. So the one I have is also a gas detector, which went off and everything flashed in my house, and we all ran out of the house because something was going off. But anyway, that is also, if your gas is going off, that's a 911 call too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a major emergency because that can go bad really quick.
Yeah, and you don't want to, because when the fire department came, he's like, "Did you shut off the gas?" And I'm like, "I'm not going anywhere near that thing. That's your job.
Yeah.
You go over there and shut it off. Me and my family, we're outside the house."
Right. As long as everybody gets out safely.
Yeah.
Including your pets, right?
The pets have priority.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once the pets are out, we're good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So carbon monoxide, gas detector. All right. So where were we? Where was I, Kate?
As far as finding urgent care.
Okay. So for urgent care, you need to know again what the hours are, because you may not want to go to the emergency room. Oh, here's a little tip about going to the emergency room. If you go to the emergency room and you are seen and you decide to leave without being discharged, you may be on the hook for that bill and not your insurance company.
Yeah.
So if you're in and they bring you in, you've been triaged, now you're in their system. If you do not, you have to have a doctor discharge you, because if not, your insurance company will not pay the bill. All right. This is probably my biggest issue I have with the hospital here, because they would not treat my husband because he's a transplant patient, and they didn't want to discharge him either so we can go to another hospital. It was, yeah. Complaints were filed. What can I say?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good situation.
It was not a good situation. They finally discharged him in a hospital gown with a port hanging out of his arm and told us to drive down. Yeah.
Are you serious?
I swear to God.
Wow.
The hospital in Silverdale had to file a complaint against the hospital here in Port Angeles.
What the heck?
Yeah.
I hate when I hear stories like that. It just gets me so angry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. We were a little bit angry over that.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, know where you're going is number one, and then, all right. So now, somebody. Okay, let's go into. We're just off an election. There's probably not going to be fun family time with people who are on both sides of the fence.
No, and I think it's more than just the election. I don't know. It just seems, at least what I've noticed, is people's moods have definitely dampened.
Mm-hmm.
the last couple of years. And people that used to be really happy and chipper are no longer happy and chipper. I just think there's just an overall, I don't know if I want to say an overall atmosphere of crankiness, but I think that's going to definitely add to it. I would hope not, but
So I would expect crankiness at holiday dinners. Now, the way me and my husband have solved that problem is that we've made reservations at the local restaurant.
oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody's around. We're not going anywhere. There used to be some rather large family get-togethers with in-laws and stuff like that. And you know what? No, I no. Um,
And, you know, being a first responder, the holidays, they always started out, I'm not even going to say the word, it's the Q word that we don't say in emergency response. It's quiet. But you hit 9 o'clock ish, 8, 9 o'clock ish, and then all of a sudden the rest of the night is just crazy. And
Alcohol is flowing.
mm-hmm.
Phones are loosened. So again, going back to when you're calling 911, right? It's not because I don't know Uncle Joe has had too much to drink and is now inappropriate, as opposed to Uncle Joe has had too much to drink. And I am making up a name. I do not even have an Uncle Joe in my family. Uncle Joe has had too much to drink, and now he's throwing a wine glass at you.
Right. Yeah, it's the holidays were never fun. They were never fun. So definitely families don't necessarily really enjoy being together.
Right.
At least from my experience over the years.
Right. So no, but here's the thing too. If you know this about your family, okay, and you know you're going to get there and it's going to be problematic, you just problematic. It's also going to be problematic if you don't go. So which is the better problem to have?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people over the holidays feel pressured. The holidays bring on extra stress.
Yep.
It's even more extra stress because of finances, right? Because we
Yep.
have to extend our finances for all these gifts. Um, you've got work sometimes, depending. I mean, in our field, work has extra demands. Um, so you've got the added work stress. And then you've got all the family stuff, family that you may not even see, but just once a year. And now all of a sudden you have to go and pretend like you know everything about that family member when really it's just kind of, I don't know. I always felt like they're still kind of a stranger, even though they're technically family. It's not like you really talk throughout the year.
Yeah, I for a while there, and this is let's go back 15-ish years. I stopped doing family dinners until one of my daughters got married, and the in-laws there always did big dinners, so we just sort of joined in over there. But I had stopped doing the big holiday dinners, and this had like nothing to do with politics and everything to do with people drinking too much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'd be sitting there cooking dinner all day, which got no help from anybody. And then I got brothers who are freely drinking. One of my brothers is hitting on the wife of another brother who's
Oh,
not putting a stop to it. Okay. The other brother is getting mad, and now there's a fist fight.
oh, that's not good.
No. So it was like stupidity because of that. And really what put an end to it was that for 1 year I required everyone to bring a dish.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone had to bring a dish. And they got so pissed off, okay, that I asked them to bring a dish that they didn't want to come anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's like, geez, I was like so heartbroken. My husband would go and hide in the kitchen and do dishes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, um,
Holidays
so
are stressful.
yeah. So you know what? Holiday get-togethers can be stressful. And even if you love your family,
Mhm.
things can still get stressful.
Yeah, I think it's just a combination of everything.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, all right. So urgent care for people, but what about something happens to one of your pets? Again, your local vet, your personal vet, is probably enjoying turkey at their house, and that leaves the emergency hospitals, which are probably going to be short-staffed
Possibly.
because it's a holiday. They're short-staffed to start off with. Okay,
Mhm.
do you know where they are? Okay, do you know what they want you to do before getting there? Do you just madly get in the car and show up? Because I just did a pet first aid instructor training here,
Mhm.
and one of the instructors bought the old building that the emergency hospital was in before they moved to a larger location. So he had to print out like handouts with turn by turn directions and put it in a like thing on the front door, because people would just show up in a blind panic to his, where it's no longer the emergency animal hospital, and not and give them directions to where the new hospital is.
I think most people don't necessarily really realize where their nearest emergency veterinary hospitals are. I know from going out there and teaching the animal first aid as well. Um, Even the emergency vets can't necessarily get you in. I know sometimes, like last Christmas, it was Christmas Eve when my dog went into congestive heart failure, and when I called, I said, "What's your wait time?" She said 3 hours. Now the difference was, I knew what I was trying to communicate to them.
Yeah.
So I knew what I was communicating, and that's when they knew that she was in respiratory distress and told me to come in, and they'll triage that right away. But initially, I mean, I've had some clients like their dog was in pancreatitis and they still had to wait 5 hours. And then they went from one emergency vet to then be told that they have to transfer to another emergency vet. Um, so it's especially if you're traveling and you're traveling with your pets, it's a really good idea to start looking at where you're staying and where the closest veterinary hospitals are for that,
Mm-hmm.
instead of in the moment freaking out and having no idea where to go.
Right. And most, if you're going to the emergency hospital, you want to call them. You want them aware you're going. Okay.
Yeah.
The one that's here, the one that's in Bremerton, Poulsbo, is they want you to fill out a form. So you call them up, and they're going to either text you the form, or you go to their website and the form is there. It's huge, where you're filling out all the questions they want answered. All right. I guess to determine based on the questions and just how bad the emergency actually is, and that they're prepared. All right. So if you're by yourself, it's going to be a little hard to drive down and fill that out at the same time.
And
Now,
that stuff just is frustrating. Like, I get why they do that, but this is an emergency situation. We don't have 911. You have to be all elements of 911 for your pet in that moment. And then they're like, here, we need you to fill this out before you can even come in.
yeah. But it puts you in their system, and they'll say, well, we'll call you when it's time. But you know what? I know I'm an hour away, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
an hour away if the bridge is down. So I'm get in the car, maybe voice to text for those who are driving by themselves, but my husband's going to come with me. He's going to drive, I'm going to fill it out, and then I will just sit in the parking lot until they're ready.
Hmm.
Or I'll let them know I'm there. Hey, I'm already here. I don't mind sitting in your parking lot, but we're here.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't heard of it being done that way before.
Yeah, no, that's how and probably I think has a lot to do with COVID.
Mhm.
You know, it was literally just like in the past year that my vet has allowed people back in the waiting room.
Wow, really?
Yeah. They loved not having people in the waiting room.
Well, and you know what's so funny? The emergency vet that I just went to with Bishop, it's a veterinary emergency group. They have an open floor plan. I thought it was great. I mean, I wouldn't think it was great if I worked there, but I thought it was great as a patron because you walk in and they walk you in the back and everybody is right there. All the stations are right in the middle. And then their waiting room are couches that are circled around the main area. So you get to see everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think as a groomer, I probably would not like that sort of scrutiny.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I had to work it, I wouldn't like it. But as a customer, I really liked it.
I think I don't think, no, I've never been in an emergency hospital where they had that kind of open concept.
Yeah, it was the first time I was in there. And I mean, they utilized me for my help. I was able to help with them as far as starting the IV catheter, and they were trying to do stuff on him. And I was like, he's going to probably go a little Dalmatian on you. So they would come and give him some peanut butter. And he's so food driven. You give him peanut butter, you can do anything to that dog. So it was actually kind of a cool experience.
So before we move on to poison hotlines, both for human and for people, let's talk about that book you got right back there, Kate.
That one right there?
That one right there.
I like that book.
You like that book?
I do.
Can we see it?
You certainly can.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
An emergency disaster plan template. And who was it written by, Kate?
Actually, it looks like it was written by me and you.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so if you want to flip through a couple pages, it's a template. All you have to do is fill it out.
Oh, that was my QR code. I was looking for that. At the event, I was like,
all right, so it has everything to do with emergencies and disasters, how to plan, how to get supplies, first aid kits, preparing your business for it. So it's $40 and you can get it you can get it on Amazon now, by the way.
Very cool.
You can also get it at positiveed.com/books, or any bookstore. Right? You can order it at any bookstore. So, all right. That said, let's move on to the hotlines. You have poison hotlines. You have some for people, and you have one for pets. Okay.
Yeah.
The one for people is freebie. It's paid by our tax dollars. Okay. But it is for people. And I know that for a fact because I called many, many, many years ago about my dog, and they told me, no, this is for people only. You want the pet poison hotline instead. It's staffed by somebody who knows poisons. Okay. Oh, Angie says that book is well worth the $40. Thank you very much, Angie.
Thank you, Angie.
It's staffed by medical personnel. Okay.
The poison hotline?
The human.
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's not life and death, meaning the person's not foaming at the mouth and just passed out, a call to them might help start relieving the situation because minutes matter in a poisoning. And having that well-stocked first aid kit for both people and animals is a must, that if you have to use it, you want to have it handy and not running around your house looking for things that you should have.
Yeah.
Okay? But that's a conversation of another live stream. Okay. The pet poison hotline is not a free phone call.
No.
And
it's payment right off the bat.
That's the first thing they're going to ask you for is your credit card, because it is not funded by our tax dollars. It's funded by your credit card. However, it is staffed by pharmacology trained veterinarians who are probably far more knowledgeable about poisons than your own vet if you can't get a hold of them, and who is probably going to call them as well if they're in the event of a poisoning. But they're going to ask you for your credit card.
Yeah.
But minutes matter in a poisoning, right? So having these numbers handy and on your refrigerator, or programmed into your phone, that couple of seconds you don't have to search for the phone number could make the difference between life and death.
Oh yeah. And two, I know from working in the vet office, poison control is going to open a case number, and the vet office will just ask you what that case number is. And then at that point, there can be communication between you, poison control, and your vet office. But you have to call that number first and get your credit card on file, and then they'll give you a case number.
Yep. And there's a reason they ask for that credit card number, because if they don't get it right off the bat, they may not get it.
Right.
And
Right.
people need to get paid.
Right.
All right. Anything you want to add for today?
No, I think we covered what we wanted to cover.
Okay. So we'll be back next week, and not quite sure what we'll discuss. We'll tend to decide that half hour beforehand.
No, it was more than a half hour.
Okay. 25 minutes.
But they can help us out by letting us know what they want to talk about.
Yes.
So put your comments down below wherever you may be watching this, and let us know what do you guys want to talk about.
Okay. All right. We'll see everybody next